can fear. It's the destiny of a Jedi.
Bringing Carrie Fisher back was an incredibly kind of tiered problem, and I thought it was going to be difficult, and actually I didn't really appreciate how complicated it was going to be.
No, you can't do it for me.
What we did was we built this enormous matrix of all the performances of Carrie Fisher from 7 and 8, and then essentially figured out all the lines she said, and then JJ and Chris Terrio wrote the script around those lines. And the way that we chose to do it is for each of her performances, we cut out her face so that it's Carrie Fisher playing Princess Leia. We cut out her face, and then we built a digital Princess Leia around the face.
Okay. Hair and costume.
Costume, exactly. Which meant, of course, she could have a new hairstyle, she could have a new costume for this movie, which would make her feel very unique to this particular project. And then I think the other thing that we worked very hard to achieve was the fact that she was interacting with elements within the scene, or other actors. You know, she walks past, there's one moment where she walks past Rey and says, never underestimate a droid, you know. So those kinds of interactions were absolutely key, I think, to make the audience believe that she was really there at that moment.
Look at that fleet.
There was a huge dramatic sequence at the end with
so
thousands of Star Destroyers.
So how many Star Destroyers? Paul knows this intimately.
Well, we laid them out in the computer, and it ended up being 1,080.
1,080.
1,080 in 2 levels.
Yeah, so they're rising off the planet Exegol, and the idea was that, you know, they are still vulnerable before they've risen to a certain height. So the Galaxy Fleet, you know, our heroes, the Resistance, want to attack them before they get to a certain height or altitude. And there was about 16,000 Galaxy ships turned up to save the day. It's not just a matter of building the ships, but you have to design them. And you can't design 16,000 ships. I mean, well, you can, but it would take a very, very long time.
We'd still be doing it now.
Yeah, and for the foreseeable future. What we did was James Klein, who was the art director on the show for us, he and his team designed a whole bunch of ships, and then we modeled those. And then the guys wrote some computer programs that basically then made up ships from those component parts. Meanwhile, JJ's asking questions like, how's it going on that? You know, just
can I see something?
Yeah, because, you know, but it takes a while, you know, to get to a place where you can start to show the director what that moment might feel like. But what we do, because of the enormous amount of work involved in the detail of what we do, is we try and sketch out a simple version of the idea. So it's sort of so that everyone understands what the general idea of the moment might be. And we can do a lot of those things using more physically based ideas. So for example, we know that when an explosion happens, there's a certain amount of force involved and certain things happen. And when you see explosions that we're doing now, they're actually based upon real physical burn rates of material, you know, how quickly an explosion might expand and what force that would have. So a lot of that stuff looks more real because it's actually simulating a real event. You know, the weird thing is we just want to make our work vanish, you know, and for people to be unaware of it and for people to really believe that everything in the movie is actually happening.
The Force will be with you.